What's going on YouTube? It's Mike here. Today guys, in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the iPad mini. Now, it's been a while since I've made a video on the iPad mini. Actually, it's been a while since I've made a video on anything in general. About a week ago. I'm actually giving away an iPad mini right now, so if you want to click the link in the description to go enter yourself into the giveaway, it's only going to be going on for a few more days, up to December 7th, 2012. So make sure you enter within that time in order to be valid for the giveaway. Definitely be sure to smash that subscribe button up top and hit that like button down below, just to help you before you actually go and enter, but definitely click the link down in the description. But anyways, today in this video, I want to review the 16GB black iPad mini. I just kind of want to give my full take and go over the design and specs and software and give some demos of apps and stuff like that. So I'm really excited. Let's get to it. So the first part of the iPad mini I'd like to talk about is the design. Now, compared to the iPad 2 or the iPad 4, obviously there is quite a huge difference. If you haven't seen my comparison of the iPad 2 and iPad mini, definitely be sure to go check that out. It is on my channel and also on the playlist of all my iPad mini videos. But I'd like to go over the design. As you can see, it is very beautiful. It's just flat out amazing. I love how this feels in the hand. I think it feels absolutely great. To be honest, I like this feel more than the regular iPad itself. I feel that this is more portable, easier to use, easier to handle, and it just kind of suits my needs. You know, when I picked up my iPad 2, and I'm sure I've stated this in a video before, I just feel like it's too much, it's too heavy, and I think that the regular iPad is always going to feel sort of obsolete to any iPad mini user. Even though it's not, it's just always going to feel that way. So we'll actually go over all the parts on the iPad mini, starting with the front. Of course, we have our front-facing camera, which is 720p HD. I'm pretty sure it's very good quality, better than those VGA cameras that have always been on the front. And then we have our home button here, pretty straightforward and simple. I think that's pretty easy. On the side here, on the right side of it, unlike left side where we usually have our volume buttons on all Apple products, on the right side we have our two volume up and down rockers along with our mute switch, which could also be used, of course, for portrait orientation. You could change that up in settings if you'd like. Up on the top we have our power sleep wake button, a microphone, and our headphone jack, 3.5mm. On this side we have nothing, but if you do get the 3G model of the iPad mini, you will have a little nano and micro SIM tray. I'm not 100% sure because this is the Wi-Fi model, 16GB. And then on the bottom we have our speaker grills along with the new lightning cable charging port. And then when we move to the back, you see that we have this all beautiful aluminum slate design, just like we got on the iPhone 5. If you do choose to get the white one of this model, you will have an all silver back to it. It is very beautiful. I think both colors are very nice, but this time around I chose black for my Apple devices for the year, but next year I'll be switching back to white just to give it a test out, so for the new iPhone or whatever new product comes out. So we have our Apple logo here, we have the iPad logo, and then just some information on the bottom. You know, not too important, trying to get my camera to focus in there if you guys could see. We just have our information there, and then we have our 5-megapixel 1080p video recording camera right on the back. And I must say the camera quality is very nice of this thing, actually both on the front and back. It meets up to my standards actually with my iPhone 5, as a matter of fact. You know, pictures are obviously better on the iPhone 5 since it's 8 megapixels, and this is 5, but I still think the pictures come out great. Next I want to talk about specs, and I actually have this zoomed in here on the capacity of the iPad mini. So they come in the 16GB, the 32GB, and the 64GB models. That's the option for either the Wi-Fi model or the cellular model. It really depends on what you choose. And so the base start price for the iPad mini 16GB, just the Wi-Fi model, black and slate or white and silver, is going to run you about $329. Personally, I think this is a little expensive. It's kind of unfortunate, but I could kind of understand since it is still an Apple iPad tablet, just a little bit of a smaller version. Still very nice though. I do wish the price would go down a little bit. They could at least make it $299. I think that would make a little more sense to Apple and the consumer as well, but I'm sure that'll go down within the next coming months. Otherwise, you're going to be starting at $329 for your base 16GB Wi-Fi model. In terms of other specs, this packs 512 megabytes of RAM. Still, you know, it's not as fast as the iPhone 5 where you get 1GB of RAM, but I'm not going to lie, it's actually pretty good. And you have your dual-core A5 chip that came from the iPhone 4S and the iPad 2, so we still at okay speeds. I've actually noticed that it's faster than my iPad 2, which is interesting since it shares the same processor as the iPad 2. So, you know, it's not the fastest and the greatest, but I've noticed completely fine speeds. It hasn't frozen up on me once. As a matter of fact, my iPhone 5 is frozen up more than this thing, so I'm not going to complain here. The speeds are just fine. I also want to talk about the software a little bit, which happens to be iOS 6.0.1. As of me making this video, I'm sure that it's different, but as you can see there, my software version is iOS 6.0.1. But, you know, as you're watching this video, it could be a different, it could be a different, update that's out right now, but this is running iOS 6.0.1. You know, we couldn't be moving with, iOS 7 from here. I'm sure this will run several versions, iOS 7, iOS 8, or however the heck, Apple wants to keep going up in numbers, but right now this is running iOS 6, and it is pretty stable when you buy this. Your base, iOS is going to be iOS 6. Not a bad software at all. You know, I kind of do miss the YouTube app, and Maps just plain out sucks. Not gonna lie there, guys. Interestingly enough, the iPad mini also packs Siri, your personal assistant. I'm sure I just said a mouthful to Siri there, and I doubt she'll even understand me. She goes, I am. But what's interesting is this shares pretty much the same specs except for the camera as the iPad 2, but this is able to run Siri and the iPad 2 isn't. I'm not 100% sure on this, why this happened. I guess Apple just sort of forgot, but you know, Siri was definitely something they could have been kind of invited to the iPad 2 since it's on the iPad mini with same or similar specs. Next, I want to demo some apps for you just so you guys can get an idea. Here, I'm running Tweetbot. This is the iPad version. And one thing I have to say that I love about the iPad mini is, unlike the iPhone 5's bigger screen, the iPad apps that you get on here actually fit into the screen. There's no difference, there's no borders or anything. You don't have to resize it. I'm not talking about iPhone apps running on an iPad here. I'm talking about regular iPad apps scaled, running on an iPad mini. There is no size difference. You know, the scale is a little bit smaller. Not to iPhone scale, but it's in between the middle of iPad and iPhone. Probably more iPhone. But everything still matches up fine. You know, everything just gets a little smaller than the iPad, but if you have iPad apps, you know, there is no size difference, there's no separate, you're not going to be rescaling it or anything. It's just perfectly fine, and I've noticed that with every iPad app, and I kind of wish this came in with the iPhone 5 too, but since the iPhone 5 we were going like this with the screen, and the iPad mini we were going like this with the screen, you know, that's kind of where the size difference is. So that was Tweetbot, and I also want to demo Temple Run for you guys, which is a very popular, but just went down the drain over the last probably year. Just to give you guys a demo of a game here. So I'll start running, since I'm sideways here, looking sideways, I'm probably not going to do the best. There's also a really bad glare from the lights. But as you can see here, here's just a sample of these, here's just a sample of the game, the speed. Usually this game runs very slow on anything lower than an A5 device. So you can see that the speeds are pretty snappy. I don't know if you could hear any of the sounds, probably her jumping. I just want to collect those coins. Just jump a little here. So you can see there's no problem with the speeds at all. You know, I'm not going to complain. It's running fine. And, you know, there's no lag at all. How long am I going to be playing this here? I'm a Temple Run champ, by the way. I just need to die. So as you can see, I purposely died there. I sucked in that game, 72,000, but, you know, I wasn't trying. Like I said, I was sideways. Typically, I do a lot better than that, guys, and I promise. Highest score, 2 million. So my final thoughts for the iPad mini, pretty much, I guess my expectations were just about set. You know, first looking at the iPad mini, it's definitely a downscale from what you'd regularly have on a regular-sized iPad, but I can see myself using this from now on. I never took my full-sized iPad to school. This I've taken a couple times, and, you know, if I need to pull up something quick on the internet or just look at some photos that I've taken, you never know. I've actually used it in class, and I'm not going to lie, it's been very good, and it's been coming with my needs, and the smart cover, probably the best feature here of this iPad, works well too. It also comes with the regular iPad, if you guys remember. So this just snaps on here. I have a smart cover for my iPad too as well. When you look at the size, it is just so much smaller and just so much weirder to feel like. If we take the iPad 2 smart cover here, that's the iPad 2 smart cover, and that's the iPad mini. So when you're taking the iPad 2 and putting it here, obviously, you know, you're going to feel that much bigger of a difference. It's very different. It's got the different system of magnets. I don't know if you guys knew that, just like that. So it's very interesting and different to use. And if you're a regular iPad user, this is going to feel very weird at first, but if you're using this for a while and you come back to this, there is that sense of difference. It just feels so weird. It's crazy. And then I think a little trouble Apple ran into with the iPad mini is not everyone had $329 on release date or a couple days after release date just to pay for this thing. The lines were a lot shorter than I expected for this thing. I did go to the 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. launch, whatever it was, and the lines were so short. It was insane. Like, it was a kind of a waste of time going so early. But it was a highly anticipated product for more than a year now, and it just came out it came out different. We expected the design and all, but we could have had a better processor. We could have had the Retina display, which is the only downfall I have with this device. There's no Retina display, but since it's a smaller screen, more pixels fit in, so it's not as bad as the iPad 2. But a Retina display would have been nice, especially for $329. I mean, come on, you could get a Kindle Fire for $199, and that's, it's about the same size. This is nearly 8 inches. The Kindle Fire is 7. Obviously, you have that size difference, but there's no Retina display, and it meets up to just about the same features. But otherwise than that, I really do love the iPad mini. Not gonna lie, great device overall. I'm not really into tablet use, and I haven't found myself using this extremely a lot, but when I do, if it's school use, or I don't want to use my MacBook, or something bigger than my iPhone, it does come in handy. In terms of, returning this thing, I was thinking about it for a while, am I really going to need this? Am I really going to use it? And then I just said, you know what? It's a good little device. I don't get to use my iPad 2 a lot. This is my own device, and it's good to use, and it's good for me to use for myself, or personally use this school, work, pretty much anything, and I'm happy with my purchase, I'm not gonna lie. Well guys, that is my review of the iPad mini. If you like this video, please leave some comments below on your thoughts. Of course, give this video a thumbs up, it does help out, so go hit that like button, and click the subscribe button up top. Again, be sure to click the link in the description below. Should be the first one to enter to win an iPad mini. Your choice of color in the 16GB option. Giveaway ends December 7th, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Let's just give a smart cover outro for old time's sake. Peace.